We're live now.
No, we're not.
It says live in the corner.
We are live. Love it. Love it. Hello. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Keith is laughing because I'm so funny. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Brandon Leon. I am a local Sacramento real estate agent out here in the Sacramento and Placer County, El Dorado County area. I am joined with Keith Collins, and he is with
Movement Mortgage.
Movement
I am
Mortgage.
your local mortgage guy, I guess. Is that what I am?
Yeah, the local Kai the mortgage guy.
Kai the mortgage. They'll never be old.
I'm the home guy. He's the loan guy. It's real simple. We get together to give you what's going on in the Sacramento real estate market, what's happening, what's relevant. We're going to hit you with lots of data and lots of numbers, and we're going to kind of breeze through it because there's just so much here. So our goal is to just give you an update each month on what's going on, a snapshot of what's going on and how it's relevant to you as a home buyer or a home seller. So if there's anything you want us to cover on the show, please let us know. We're here to help. We want to answer all the questions that you may have. And we're excited to go through this. We got lots of good stuff for you today. So before we do that, what I'd like to do is, we'll talk about a little bit about what we're going to cover, and then we're going to introduce our little drinks because this is like our version of happy hour. So the big title is record-breaking home price growth so far in 2022. Now we're only a few months in, but when we look at the numbers, you're going to be blown away. So we're going to talk about massive median home price growth. We're going to talk about record-breaking dollar growth. We're going to talk about how buyers paid way above normal for a house than they did last month, and buyers are making more aggressive offers. So we're going to talk about how aggressive and what percentage, and how that's going to affect you and your ability to buy. Keith's going to cover a little bit about the real estate market versus the recession. He's going to really talk about the strength of our market as a whole, and we're going to go over those things and a little bit more today. So excited to jump into that, but before we do that, let's cheers, big ears, and we will talk about what we're drinking. Keith, what are you drinking today?
I have a Bardstown, which is probably one of my favorite bourbons. I love everything Bardstown does, but they're recently doing these kind of offshoots where they're mixing it up a little bit. And so this one's the Founders Brewing Bardstown, and it's straight bourbon whiskey finished in Founders Age stout barrels.
Stout. Oh, you're going stout
barrels. And honestly, brother, it's nectar. This stuff is
I've never been a fan of anything beer finished.
I agree. So
Westward. That's not
is it Westward that does that? You drink that and you're like, yes, that tastes beer. This is just super smooth, man. I don't get a lot of beer finish out of this. It's delicious.
I'm not mad at it, but cheers to you. I am drinking actually something very special. This is Blackened Willet X. So
really?
Two distilleries, Willet and Blackened, got together, and Master Distillers got together, and they worked on this project. Now, Blackened's kind of cool because they have this black noise sonic enhancement technology.
Stop it. Doesn't do anything.
No, legit. So they have these frequencies. They basically have this music or these vibrations set on these barrels to Metallica music. And as it's vibrating in the barrels, supposedly it's going to give it some special flavors. It's unique. It's
unique. It's unique. I feel it's like Jefferson's aged at sea. Like,
yeah, I know. It's like that. It's hype, but you know what? This, you get lots of strawberry, rhubarb. You get some baking spices. This is a mix of rye in there, so about 6 years old. But
is this your first taste of this?
I've had it once before. I really like it. It's finished in Madeira wine casks. Anyways, that's our fun little whiskey talk for you. If you guys have any questions about whiskey, want to know more about it, Keith and I are
that guy.
It's something we've gotten into that we're interested in. We host tastings on the regular. Lots of fun. All right, let's move on to the real stuff, really what people care about, and that is dad jokes. Before we get into the real estate talk. So I won last month, so you can go first.
I feel like I went first last month. All right, man.
That's because you keep losing.
I do.
The goal is to tell a dad joke and make the other one laugh. So you get two chances.
I get two chances?
Yeah.
I don't have two jokes. Okay. I wonder what Jeff Bezos does before he goes to bed. Puts his pajamas on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. You just demolished that joke. I'm sorry, dude. Like, I'm going to make you laugh with a way inferior joke. That was a
stinger. Pajamas on, dude. That's funny. All right.
Pajamas on?
Pajamas on.
All right. What do you call a lazy kangaroo?
What do you call a lazy kangaroo?
A pouch potato.
Pouch potato. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That took me a second.
You'll get it later.
Moving on.
This is actually my favorite new joke ever.
Tell me.
You ready for this?
Yep.
Did you know that diarrhea is hereditary?
Did you just say what I think you said?
Yeah. Did you know that diarrhea is hereditary?
No, I didn't.
It runs in your genes.
That's so terrible. Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
That's a hard delivery. That one is hard to deliver. It's a good one. All right.
So, move on from that one.
For those of you that don't know, we just like to have fun. I do dad jokes on Instagram every single week now. I just put out some today, just trying to have fun and lighten things up. So feel free to follow me, Brandon Leon Realtor, on Instagram. And Keith, what's your handle on Instagram?
At Keith Collins. It's Keith Collins Team.
Keith Collins Team. So feel free to follow us. We not just do fun stuff, but we put out real estate content all day long to really everything that's relevant right now that should be talked about. We're talking about. So, all right, great. That was fun, but let's move on to some content here. So if you're just joining us right now, thank you so much for tuning in. We are here for a Sacramento real estate market update, talking about everything that's relevant right now. Feel free to comment. We'd love to hear from you if you have a specific question. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so we can keep putting out this amazing content for you and updating you every single month. So Keith, let's talk about rates.
Man, that's the topic right now, huh? So the Federal Reserve is going to do a rate hike here at the next meeting. We're going to see probably a 25 basis point rate hike. I think there's a big misconception that comes up every time the Federal Reserve talks about raising interest rates. They raise or lower basically short-term interest rates, the cost of borrowing money between banks to speed up or slow down the economy to impact inflation. And we all know that we're seeing a lot of inflation right now. I mean, record numbers. Some of the inflation numbers that we're seeing is we haven't seen this since like the early 80s. So we're going to see a hike. That hike is geared to hopefully slow the economy down a little bit. It's already been baked in, right? Everybody knows that hike is coming. So what we're going to see in a couple of weeks is already baked into interest rates, but it's been pretty darn volatile. We're seeing interest rates in, the upper threes, low fours, whereas at the end of the year, they were in the twos. So if someone's circling the horn again on getting pre-approved and they got pre-approved at the end of last year, I mean, they're going to be surprised by the interest rate that they get offered. It's not the lender that they're talking to. It's just the market that we're in. And then with all the volatility, thank you, honey. With all the volatility that we're seeing in the marketplace, I think that, interest rates are going to continue to tick up a little bit. It's where we're at.
And it's just important to know. And Keith, I was in a situation recently, with a client that was, actually it was one of my team members that was working with a client, first-time home buyer, and they had already been pre-approved with a lender. And, one of my team members wanted to send them, to you. And as, it's always good to get a second opinion, but his client was under the belief that, I have this lender that I was going to work with. I got pre-approved with a new home lender also, and they gave me this rate, right? But this other one promised me a 4% rate. And so I'm going to stick with that lender because they're going to give me a 4% rate. And so my first question was, well, how long ago was that they promised you a 4% rate? Because that's not what current rates are. They said, oh, it's like a month and a half ago. And so that opened up the conversation. I think this is just worth talking about because we have people over people that are buying their first home. We have people that have bought several homes. But as interest rates are changing and as volatile as it is, I think it's a good conversation to have that the interest rate that you have now or that are promised now doesn't mean that's what you're going to get. So it's important to know there's no promise of a rate, until you actually lock that in. Can you speak more about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, lenders, think about it this way, I guess, the money's kind of flowing through the bank all day long, and the lender doesn't lock that rate until you're in contract on the home. And the reason is basically it's not like this simple, but when we lock that rate in, we basically start to incur an interest expense on that loan. And so there's a cost to the company. So we can only lock a rate in when we know a loan is going to close in a certain period of time, because we can only hold on to that money without delivering it to the market for a period of time. So, typical rate lock is 30, 45 days. If you're doing a builder transaction, some programs will allow you to lock 6-9 months out when you think that interest rates are going to move up. And there's some pretty competitive float down options within that. But for the most part, when you're shopping for a house, that rate's not locked until you're in. And just a side note on that, with a lot of the down payment assistance programs, that's maybe something, if you're super payment sensitive, that you ask your lender, because a lot of the down payment assistance programs, we actually can't lock in the interest rate until the loan's approved, appraisal's back, and it's like sent over to the down payment assistance. So you could be a week and a half, 2 weeks into the transaction, you got $1,000 out for inspections, and then we lock the rate. And maybe the rate goes up an 1/8 to 1/4%. Like that can happen because the lender can't lock the rate on a lot of down payment assistance programs until certain things happen.
That's a great explanation. And it just goes to show, like, having a pro on not only the home side, but the lending side, to have that conversation with you beforehand so you know what's coming. I think that's really important. So I know you wanted to cover some recession stuff and how.
Yeah, you want to get those graphs up there, Derek. I think this is so these are some interesting graphs, and this is just a conversation that we're gonna start to hear more about a potential recession. When the Federal Reserve increases interest rates to slow the economy down, a recession is really just the economy slowing over a 6-month period of time, not growing. Doesn't mean the sky is falling. It just means the economy is slowing. I think traditionally people think that when we hear recession, that means home price correction. And I found a couple of really cool graphs, like this one right here. I don't know if we can blow it up any bigger, but this goes all the way back to 1960. And so these black columns that you're seeing represent a recession, and the white line there represents housing prices. And you'll see as the recession starts, we see housing prices continue to increase. The only time that we've really seen a significant difference was in 2008, which in 2008, that wasn't a recession associated with economic slowing. That was a recession because the housing market collapsed, right? That was a supply and demand issue. It wasn't related to a recession. So I think it was something very unique. But that's the one thing that we all think about and remember from our memory is the 2008. And I think the next slide is actually really cool, that shows kind of the real relationship here, which is, recession doesn't equal housing crisis. And in fact, in the last 5 recessions, out of 3 of them, home prices actually went up. So in 1980, 1981, and the 2001 recession, home prices went up 3.5%, 6.5%. 1991, they went down about 2%. And then really to 2008 is the big anomaly. There are things going on in the market that will probably hit a recession. And when that happens, again, I don't think that means that we're putting on the brakes and the market's going to correct. And this next slide is really the reason why I think this slide is the one that really supports, it really supports the idea that the housing market has a lot of fundamentals behind it. And really, this is what this is showing. The green line is U.S. population, and the blue line is new home sales. New homes for sale, not new home sales, but new homes for sale. And if we talk about supply and demand, if more people want an item that has less availability, that price goes up. It's the same. It's like gas right now, right? We're having oil issues because everything going on in Ukraine and Russia. That means we're going to have less oil, which means oil prices and gas prices go up. It's the same thing with housing. If there's people want houses and there's not enough houses for the people that want them, housing prices has to go up. And that's what we've seen. And so when you look at this, it is completely in an opposite direction. How a new homes for sale is dropping off a cliff, and U.S. population is continuing to grow. It supports the idea that we have way more demand then we have homes available.
Yep. Good. Beautiful. Thanks for covering that. Should you guys have any questions about what he just covered, feel free to comment, and we'd love to hear from you. I actually have Edgar. Edgar says, have you tried the Charles Woodson whiskey? No, and I won't. Anything that comes out from any whiskey that comes out from a pro, they're basically sourcing it. They have nothing to do with it. In most cases, it's just buying it from someone and putting a label on it. And I already heard it was terrible before it even came out, so I was like, I'll stay away from that. But yeah, don't buy the hype on that one. All right, so thanks for covering that, Keith. And now I want to hit you kind of with a little market highlight snapshot, is what I call it. Like here are the biggest stats and the biggest things that stuck out to me over the past month. And when we do these, a lot of times we get this information from Sacramento Appraisal blog. Shout out to Ryan Lundquist for providing these amazing graphs. So if we look at the Sacramento real estate market as a whole, so Sacramento, Placer, El Dorado, Yolo counties, the median home price is up 18.4% since last February. So since February 2021, the median house price grew $31,000 in 1 month from January to February of this year. 31,000. That blows my mind. That's a huge jump. We haven't seen numbers like this. 2021 was similar, but in different ways. Also, multiple offers in the Sacramento area were present in 66.6% of sales last month. Now, I hate that number. I don't like that number for many reasons, but 66, like we're talking about a third, like almost a third of sales, of all sales had multiple offers. And that just blows my mind. Now, keep in mind, we still have a lower inventory, and that's going to be changing, but huge number. And also, buyers on average paid $16,000 over asking price last month. So whatever a house was listed for, on average, they're paying $16,000 more. Those are alarming stats. And so we're going to kind of break that up and at least talk about how this affects you as a home buyer or even a home seller in this real estate market. So let's get right into it, and let's go to the massive medium house price growth. We're going to go to that one. Great. So as we look at this, so just keep in mind that when you're looking at the black, like there's a black in there. So the visual shows the median price in black, and this year is so far above the others, right? So normally in February, we're going to see some growth, a rise in February, because more houses start to hit the market, and this is when the market really starts to move. But you see, and this kind of is indicative of a $31,000 price rise. And you even look at this time last year, you can see the black versus the black, and you can see how much it's rising. And I'm, looking at this graph, I really getting a picture of, and this covers through January of 2017. Like we now have a 5-year picture, right, of what the market's doing. And so I'm curious to see what that's going to look like next year. But that just shows the growth that we're having, which in my opinion is record breaking, right? So as we go to the next, as I've said, record breaking, as we go to the record breaking dollar growth. Now, this one here, as we look at this one, I think as we're looking at that, like I said, $31,000 jump from January to February, this is like the largest dollar gain that we've seen in Sacramento area between these 2 months. And that's why it's so crazy. And it's like a 5.5% increase. So, you look at this and you're like, okay, well, in 2004 and 2015, like we see, or 2015, we see this big jump. So that was the only time I'd say it was a higher change from month to month. But, that goes to show that I really do believe that people are in a position right now where they're wanting to get ahead of the interest rate hikes. And I think people are making a run. And so I don't think that this is going to stick around all year. I think that people are making that move right now and trying to get into a house now to hopefully save a little bit of money. Keith, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I think, with lenders and everybody's been talking about interest rates going up over the last 3 to 4 years, and it's finally starting to happen. And it's happened in a very dramatic fashion. one that surprised kind of a lot of people. So I think that that's kind of jolting it. I wonder also if people are kind of starting to come around the idea that, look, like this is sustained. This isn't necessarily like bubble conditions. I think there's a lot of people thinking, this is a bubble. And I think a lot of people are starting to realize that this is based on demand. We just don't have the housing based on what's out there. I was very surprised by this, though. I know that the housing market's stable, but I didn't think that it would jump that high from month to month. That surprised me quite a bit when you showed me the stat.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Let's go to the average amount buyers paid over asking. So great. So as we go here, so this kind of shows, and I like this because we can really see, a year at a glance, or we can see, from January of last year and where the numbers are in January this year, or February, sorry. So as we look on it, what's that?
I love this graph.
Yeah. Now here's the crazy part. On average, buyers paid nearly $16,000 over asking price last month. So this is way above a normal February. Buyers tend to pay like 3 to 5% under list price in February. So, we're talking about $10,000 below the list price is what they normally pay, right? And 2021 is a little bit different story, but like when you're thinking of February 2022, and this is being about twice as much as 2021, this is the average of every single escrow. So you have to know that it's the law of averages. So I think the takeaway here is that we had so many multiple offers. The average was about 16,000 above list price, but in some cases it's going to be more, and in some cases it's going to be less. But we had more multiple offers, but then we also had people willing to pay more. So the numbers are skewed just because of the limited inventory, but average of 16,000 over list price is crazy. And in this next graph,
what I love, Brian, let me jump in here with this. What I think is really cool about this, though, too, is like what this is showing me is like if you're a seller, now is the time you need to get in the market, because if you look at all these spikes post February, it's all spiking in offers over list, right? So yes, February, this year was one of the highest ever and over. But if you go back historically and you look what happens after February, prices spike. And so if you're a seller, this is the time to get into the market. July, August is too late because it's already starting to, and if you look, then you start looking in July, August, it actually starts to turn. So now is the time, if you're a seller, to get the property in the market if you're thinking about selling.
Absolutely. And case in point, 2 houses we listed in the Sacramento area, both had multiple offers, 3, 4, 5 offers, and one sold for $25,000 over list price, one sold for $30,000 over list price. So that is showing me, just from experience, that people are willing to pay more, and it is competitive. But if you are thinking about selling right now, couldn't be a better time. And it's more important than ever, if you are thinking about selling, to have a plan, to have a strategy in place for where you're going to go, and have some options on how to make the most amount of money and not have to move twice. Cool. Let's go to the next graph. Thanks, Keith. So I look at this one, and this one also blows my mind. So if you guys followed us last month, and we talked about this, and we said about 80% of houses. So let me backtrack. I'm sorry. Buyers are making more aggressive offers. That's really what we're talking about. So if we look at the Sacramento region and we look at December, January, and February, we have the amount, if you can see at the top here, it's the amount of homes that sold below the list price, the amount that sold at the list price, 1 to 5% above the list price, 5 to 10%. So whatever it was listed for, this is the percentage that it sold at or over that. So as with that context, last year we talked about, or last month in January, we said 80% of the market was paying at to 10% above list price. But I think the crazy part is, if you look in January 2022, we have 31% that sold at list price, 1 to 5% sold above list price, that's 33%, then 5 to 10 above list price, that's 16%. So that's about 80. But then we look at the following, the whole next month, right, in February, and the numbers almost equal the same. But if you notice, the numbers have gone up in the 1 to 5% above list, and specifically a whole 7% in the 5 to 10% above list. So we're seeing the numbers move upward. And again, people willing to pay more. We're looking at these numbers and looking at the difference even from December. You know, that's not quite double, but the amount of percentage that people are willing to pay over list price and just in a 2-year period is astronomical, in my opinion. And so we're just seeing that more aggressive market. Now, again, I do believe some of this is the fear of missing out on those low mortgage rates. I really do. And I can't bring that home enough. Keith, what do you see?
I mean, 3/4 of offers are over list, right? Yeah. I mean, that's, I think that's what I look at. If you're a buyer in this market, you have to ride it to buy it. And I think the bigger thing is that a lot of buyers are worried that, am I overpaying for the home? But I think we have to look at this long term. You might be overpaying for the home if you think you're going to sell it in 2 years potentially, and maybe there's risk there, right? Maybe even inside of the next 5. But if you're in this for a long term thing, is this home going to go up over time? What is the home value going to be in the next 10 years? But for this, 3/4 of homes are over list. So if you're coming in at or under list price and you really want to get the home, might be tough.
Yeah. And so having to be competitive, and like I said, having the plan. So one of the families that we helped sold their house for over $25,000 over list price. They're actually purchasing a house, which is tough to do in this market right now. So we sat down, we had a specific plan. They put a lot of work into their house. We said, hey, I actually sat down with them and said, there's a chance that you might take this extra equity that you're making in your house and just roll it over into the next purchase. And luckily we had that conversation up front. They understood. They wrote an offer well above list price on the house they were purchasing. And because it was so competitive and because they were willing to take a risk, they actually got their offer accepted before they put their house in the market, which does not happen in this market. So they were competing with 3 other offers that weren't contingent, but they agreed to pay an amount. They waived the appraisal contingency. They took a risk, and the house ended up appraising, and they ended up winning in every area. They ended up taking that money from their sale, making that money, and they didn't have to necessarily pay the cash above the appraised value on the other end. So having a plan, guys, whatever it is that you're looking on doing, having a plan and sticking to that is going to help you win in this market.
Amen.
Yeah. Boom. Beautiful. So as we wrap up with this section, just of talking about all the real estate data and everything, again, if you have any questions, I just want to check in and make sure the notes. If you have any questions about anything that we cover, or you'd like to hear us cover something else specifically, feel free to leave a comment, and we'd love to hear from you. Now, these numbers are about to change. We're in March now, right? So the numbers next month will be coming out for March, and I've been saying it and saying it and saying it, even in the monthly market updates I do in all the Sacramento area. It's like the inventory hits the market March when it really starts to shift. So as we see many more houses in the market, hopefully we'll see a softening in some of these numbers as far as maybe not multiple offers, but maybe what people are willing to pay above list price. Maybe we'll see the average days on market not be so tight. Maybe the inventory will grow a little bit, which is the hope, which will help. Now, interest rates are going to play a huge factor in that, and we're at. But hold on, because houses are going to hit the market, and this is the month for that to happen. Cool. So our property of the week here that we're showcasing, this house is in Lincoln that we recently listed. This home is just under 2,000 square feet. This is 250 Clover Meadows Circle in Lincoln and California. So this is about 25 minutes outside of Sacramento. And this is a 3-bedroom house with a den, 3 full baths. So it's a 3 to 4 bed with a den. What's great is the house has a loft upstairs, and it has about a $50,000 backyard with everything you could think of, from an actual bar to a gas grill and
the pizza oven. Do the pizza oven. So I want a pizza oven in my house so bad.
Pizza oven is lights out. So as of right now, it is still available. So you have anybody that's interested in taking a look at this property, like a private tour, I can send you a link to the Real 360 home tours we do, or feel free to share it with them, or connect with myself or my team, and we will set up a private tour for you. Keith, in closing, what do you have to add?
And I just think there's opportunity everywhere still in the housing market. You just gotta, I think you gotta get in and get a plan and then be ready to move. With what we're seeing with inventory, if you're a home buyer, like, you got to be ready, right? This is not a market that a home pops up on Saturday, you know, like, let's go get pre-approved. If you think that you're going to buy a home in the next 90 days, you got to get with a lender. You got to get pre-approved. You need to know your numbers. Mm-hmm. You need to really do the research in the area. You know, the casual lookers are the ones that are missing out on properties. You know, a home comes up in the market, you're like, oh, I've already been on that street. I know that neighborhood. I really like it. The price is there. I know the payment. I'm comfortable with it. Let's write an offer. Like, you're writing an offer while you're on the way over to look at the house. Those are the actions that you need to do in this market to be able to get ahead of the competition to get the house.
Yeah. Yeah. All good points. And, you know, when we're looking at a plan, if you're somebody that's sitting here and you're like, man, I want to buy a house, but I have a house to sell. You know, it's never too early to start that conversation, set up a plan, start getting your house ready so that you can actually take action. And there are lots of opportunities for us to help, as far as not moving twice, as far as letting you stay in the home while you're looking. And sometimes we can even help you purchase a home before you sell your home. So there are tons of options out there, but you need to get together with a trusted professional, go over those options, you know, connect with Keith, figure out where you're at from a loan standpoint. And you know, the opportunities are endless, but the preparation is the most important thing right now in this real market. And we are here to help. So my name is Brandon Leone. I am a local Sacramento realtor. Thank you so much for checking us out. And thanks to Mr.
Collins. I thought you were going to say something. Sorry, bud. Moving Mortgage. I really appreciate y'all tuning in. Thank you.
We hope to see you next month, and you stay classy, Sacramento.
Take care, y'all. Bye.